The abandoned market lay silent at dusk, with wooden stalls casting long shadows across the cobblestone. A chilly wind swept through discarded scraps of cloth, adding to the eerie atmosphere of the deserted place. Jonas crouched low among the shadows, his breathing ragged and uneven. A stray dog, filthy and thin with ribs protruding through its dirty fur, growled menacingly at him. Jonas's grip tightened around the last piece of bread in his palm, his fingers trembling slightly. His sunken eyes flicked nervously between the bread and the dog's bared teeth. The dog's nostrils flared, the smell of bread tempting it closer. A distant bell tolled softly, breaking the unnerving silence of the market. Jonas swallowed hard, his stomach protesting with hunger pangs that screamed at him to devour the bread immediately. Yet, his hand slowly extended, against all instincts. He reached out, offering the crumb to the stray. As Jonas's hand held steady, the dog lunged forward. Jonas flinched instinctively, expecting sharp teeth to sink into his flesh, but the dog instead snatched the crust and dashed into the darkness. Relief washed over Jonas. He exhaled deeply, slumping against the cold wall behind him, his stomach hollow and aching. The wind gusted through the street, scattering the last crumbs of his meal into the night. Jonas's thoughts drifted back to happier times, the bakery in its glory days. The lively abode with golden sunlight streaming in through the windows as shelves piled high with warm bread filled the air with the comforting scent of cinnamon and freshly baked dough. A younger, prouder Jonas stood there, a smile playing on his lips as he pulled a steaming loaf from the oven. Outside, children craned their necks to peer through the glass, eyes wide in wonder. Off-screen murmurs swept through the street, "No one bakes like Jonas. His bread smells like home." Unbeknownst to him, a flicker of fire crept along the rafters above, spelling doom. The scene shifted to a night of chaos, a flashback to the bakery ablaze. Orange flames consumed the building with relentless fury as the sky glowed ominously red. Villagers screamed frantically, throwing buckets of water to quench the inferno, but it was to no avail. Jonas stumbled out, coughing harshly, his apron now reduced to tatters. In horror, he turned to witness his life collapse in a rain of embers, his desperate hands reaching out, powerless against the devastation. His eyes were mirrors to the flames' wrath, wide and desperate. The roar of crackling fire and the desolate cries filled the night as wooden beams snapped one by one. Gone was the bakery, gone was the life Jonas knew, a beggar's life awaited him. A bleak alleyway greeted Jonas each morning, its cold grey skies casting forlorn shadows. Rats scurried past as Jonas, now a shadow of his former self, slumped against the damp wall. His clothes hung ragged on his shivering frame, his stomach groaning empty. He exhaled warm puffs of air into the icy atmosphere. Passers-by passed him by with distant eyes. A wealthy merchant barely spared him the courtesy of a glance. "Once, I fed this town," Jonas thought bitterly to himself, "now, it won't even look at me." Yet, amid such bleakness, there came a moment of subtle hope. A kind woman hesitated, then laid a bruised apple near him before hurrying off. Jonas stared at the gift, the gesture both foreign and welcome. Back in the present in the abandoned market, darkness surrounded Jonas as lanterns flickered dimly. He lifted the last crust of bread, determining to consume it when he heard a soft whimpering. Turning, he saw the starving dog inching forward, desperate and yet wary. His starving stomach cramped violently, his grip tightened on the bread, his heart thudding. "This is all I have left," ran his internal struggle. "If I give it away, I'll have nothing." Slowly, his fingers relented, unclenching with reluctant resolve. He extended the crumb once more. The dog darted for its prize and retreated swiftly into the shadows. Jonas leaned back exhausted, as sleep claimed him beneath the empty night sky. Morning brought a golden light to the alley, soft chirps from birds filling the air with renewed hope. Jonas stirred awake, the sound of soft paws meeting his ears. The dog had returned, but it brought someone with it, a well-dressed merchant whose cloak billowed gently in the morning breeze. "This mutt never leaves my side, but last night, he did." "He led me here," the merchant spoke coolly. Jonas blinked weakly, bewildered by the encounter. At his feet, the dog dropped something, a crust of bread. Jonas stared at it, a brooding mix of gratitude and disbelief. The scene shifted into a vision of renewal. A new bakery emerged, warm and inviting. Sunlight streamed through clean windows as golden loaves lined the counter. Jonas was there again, a clean man in a crisp apron, kneading dough with practiced hands, chronicling his new beginning. The once stray dog, now well-fed and cared for, lay curled cozily near the oven, its tail wagging happily. The merchant stood at the threshold, observing Jonas' work, nodding with approval. Kindness is a small thing, like a crumb. But sometimes, it's enough to start over, Jonas mused softly in his thoughts. He smiled, pulling a perfect loaf from the oven, content and fulfilled. As warmth enveloped the screened image, the tale of kindness echoed. A simple crumb was enough to pave new paths.